Wow, so the players take ownership of things like they did in that regard, and they were able to convert on the game to that.
And there it is, Sean McDermott talking about the Buffalo Bills win over the New York Jets, 27-17 yesterday in the home opener, the regular season opener for both clubs, the home opener for the Buffalo Bills. They get off to a 1-0 start, and we're here to talk about it today, as we are every single Monday here on WGR Sports Radio 550 from 10 till 12. My name is Sal Capaccio. Thank you very much for joining me. Welcome into the program. It is another year of the Extra Point Show. It is presented by Catholic Health, the right way to care, and brought to you in part by Northwest Bank, increasing the value of you, and by Losi and Ganji, Buffalo's workers' comp attorneys, working hard for hardworking Western New Yorkers. Wow, it's good to be in this studio again. I'm not always here a lot. Usually I'm at home doing the broadcast. If I'm on, with Howard and Jeremy in the morning or with Shope and the Bulldog in the afternoon, usually I have my little app on my phone basically hooks up. It's a digital app. It's pretty cool. And I'm talking with them. But it's nice to be here in the studio, as you can see with the mic. And yes, you can see because I've done something a little bit different today, just for a little while, just for a test today, because I'm rolling out some new things I'm going to be doing personally. So just for today, I'm streaming right now. I am streaming right now on several different platforms. I'm actually streaming on Twitter via Periscope. I'm streaming on Facebook at Sal Sports, and I'm streaming on my YouTube channel all at one time, Howard. Isn't that pretty crazy? You never thought. I know.
You're the GOAT.
I thank you very much. I'm trying. Now, the only issue is doing it this way, you won't be able to hear phone calls, but you'll be able to see me. You'll be able to watch me. You'll be able to listen to me. So we'll do it that way. And this is going to be for one segment. This is more of a test run than anything else, but it's streaming as well. Streaming on Twitter, streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook, everything. So let's try that out today. And we're going to talk on the radio. You can always listen online at WGR550.com, on the radio.com app, and also on Alexa. Just tell her, play WGR 550. So thank you very much if you're coming in on the stream or if you're listening on WGR. Once again, we'll keep it here than the stream for the first segment. A lot to get to today, but more than anything, it's your phone calls. Let me just reset how this show works for everybody. And I'll do this today, and I'll remind you as we go on how the show works, because we've done this way for several years, but every week, hopefully because you're a regular listener, a regular caller, whatever, you don't need me to tell you how it works going forward, but I will today for sure, which is, look, this is a show for you. This is a reaction show to what happened in the Buffalo Bills game yesterday against the New York Jets. You're not going to find a better spot to give a phone call and to listen in on and to tell me your thoughts and to give everybody else your thoughts on what's going on. You're not going to find a better spot in a better place to have 2 full hours to talk about what you want to talk about. And of course, I'm going to have my opinions. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to tell you what I thought about the football game. I'm going to tell you all the things that I wrote at WGR550.com, my arrow up, arrow down column, kind of go through some of those good and bad and things like that. But really, this is a show for you. I just ask you a couple of different things. I will allow you to speak your piece. If you have a comment on the game, a question on the game, whatever it is, I will allow you to do that when you call. All I ask is that we keep everything kind of respectful, obviously, but also make a good contribution. Be thoughtful on what you're saying. When a team wins, it's not about they're going to the Super Bowl right away. And when the team loses, it's not about everybody should be fired right away. That's not the kind of reaction show I like to do. I like to do a reaction show that has thoughtful comments, thoughtful questions, and yes, of course, emotion. It's okay to get emotional, to get excited about what you saw yesterday. It's okay to be upset about Josh Allen's fumbles or whatever else that's on your mind. So that's how we do it on this radio show. You give me a call at 803-0550 or 888-550-2550. Now, I will warn you, the phone lines get backed up a little while. Got my man Jonathan in there. We're putting him to work, all right? This is the first time he's had to answer a lot of calls in quite a while, probably. So many calls on this show that we're going to take. We're going to get phone calls backed up. It's okay. You stay with me. I'll stay with you. And, of course, we're going to have our normal elements like I always do here in the program, which is sit up, stand down, hey, buddy, who's my buddy? And we got a couple other things coming your way. In fact, an extra point from the sidelines I'll get to. I wasn't on the sidelines yesterday. I was in row 1, not in the seats of row 1. They were actually tarped. I was in the walking area between row 1 and between where the row 1 is and the seats, basically, where you can walk right there. So basically, I need you to give a call and tell me what you think about the football game from yesterday, and I'll tell you what I saw in the stadium and what I thought about the play, the atmosphere, all of that. As far as the atmosphere was concerned, let me get that out of the way. It was eerie. It was weird. And being in that stadium with hardly anybody around for a football game, yes, I've been in there for practices for the Buffalo Bills. I've watched them during pregame practices, training camp scrimmages, all of those kinds of things. But having it yesterday the way it was, with an actual football game with two teams, professional teams, going at it the way they were, was just weird and eerie. And I feel so bad for all of you Buffalo Bills fans who were not able to attend the game. And I know what it's like. Of course I do. I've been a part of it with you. It's my 7th year on the sidelines. I know what it's like to go to a Bills game. It's a party. It's camaraderie. It's community building. It's all of that. And especially opening weekend. And then especially when they play the way they did. But none of that was able to happen for you yesterday. So hopefully, between John Murphy and Steve Tasker and myself, we were able to give you the best broadcast possible, giving you all of the sounds and the feel to paint a picture of what the game was like. For me, I was in row 1 right there. I could move back and forth. I could go up and over if I needed to move down to, see something. I didn't have a problem with my vantage point. No problem at all. So for me, it wasn't really much different. The thing that I will tell you that was in a positive way for being down there, not to, obviously say I would like to have this every week because I want fans there, is hearing the players and the coaches and cheer for each other and talk and yell, all of those kinds of things. That was really crazy. And the hits that you hear when you're field level and how violent this game can be, pretty amazing. I said to Steve Tasker at one point on the broadcast, I said, Steve, how did you play for 9 years? Or I'm sorry, for a long time, more than 9 years. How did you play for a long time in this league, given how violent it is, obviously? I mean, it's pretty amazing to think about. But that's the situation we're in. It'll be at least for one more home game, and then we'll see what happens after that. 803-0550, 888-550-2550. Bills win 27-17 against the New York Jets, and it really wasn't that close. Let's start there. I mean, come on. Let's think back to last year's loss against the Houston Texans in the playoffs. Going into March in free agency, in April, in the draft, in the pandemic, and everything we've talked about. Every single conversation surrounding this team is about high expectation. It has been about that for the 2020 Bills for quite a while. From winning the division to even being Super Bowl contenders. I mean, heck, even I picked this team to go to the AFC Championship game this year and lose to the Chiefs. They have a lot going for them. A whole heck of a lot of continuity from their coaching staff to their quarterback to the offensive line and more. A head coach who knows how to handle and keep his focus amid all of the uncertainty. And oh yeah, a really talented and deep roster. I'd call it the best roster they've had since probably at least 1999. But with no true offseason and no preseason games, we really didn't know what to expect from this team until they actually played a game. There were still questions, especially about Josh Allen and the offense. Well, yesterday, finally got some answers. And for the most part, those answers were extremely positive. I think the Bills played about as good of a first half as anyone could have expected or hoped for. I mean, aside from a lackluster third quarter, they actually completely dominated the Jets on both sides of the football game all afternoon. Jets QB Sam Darnold, he may not have been seeing ghosts, but he did see a lot of white jerseys coming at him all day. And while Josh Allen had some of his worst come out in a few plays, he also showed his best for most of the day. The Bills were certainly not perfect yesterday. They scored 27 points. They probably should have cashed in over 40 if it wasn't for their own mistakes. But the only way they ever actually stopped themselves was stopping themselves. The only way they were stopped, I should say, was if they stopped themselves. The Jets really didn't. We've all said and understood there's going to be probably an acclimation period, an adjustment as teams finally get back on the field the first few weeks here to play real games for the first time since last season. We know that. We've also known that most wouldn't be at their best, and there's going to be some mistakes in the play, in the communication, the discipline, all of that. Well, for most of Sunday afternoon, you wouldn't know that the Bills hadn't played a game together in a real game in over 8 months. And as far as Josh Allen, he had the best day of his career statistically. So if this is what we're going to get week 1, with no offseason and no preseason games, all the questions, if this is what we're going to get, well, then the expectations I talked about earlier can pretty easily be justified. Now, of course, they did play the New York Jets, who didn't have all that continuity. They don't have a coach as buttoned up as Sean McDermott. They don't have nearly the roster the Bills do. They might be in a top 5, top 6 pick somewhere in there at the NFL draft. The Jets are a bad football team. At least right now they are. But make no mistake, the Buffalo Bills are good. They're a good team. The bar's been raised. The expectations are justified. Let's get to your phone calls. 803-0550, 888-550-2550. Tom and Fort Erie, you're starting us off the year on the Extra Point Show. Go ahead.
Sal, great to have the Extra Point Show back.
Love it. Thanks, man.
Your arrow up, arrow down column, I recommend everyone go read it. I think you really nailed it. You broke it down fantastic. But I do think you missed something that was happening yesterday. It was small, but I think it's going to pay off big. Is their ability to run the screen. The last 2 seasons, they've tried to no avail. They were hitting it a little at the end of last year, but they were so successful yesterday. They ran it 3 or 4 times for some, fairly good chunk yardage. And it's beautiful when they get everybody moving one way and boom, there goes the other. And they did a great job at it yesterday.
They did. Thank you very much for the phone call. That is something I missed. Thank you for pointing that out. I should have mentioned the screen passes they completed. They did a good job on screens. Screens to Devin Singletary, screens to Dawson Knox, whatever it was. The Bills had some nice designed screens. There's no doubt about that. I think a lot of the talking today is going to be about some of the things that Josh Allen did not do correctly, even though it was thrown in his best career day. So we're going to talk about that as well. And I think John in Rochester might want to hit on that a little bit here. So John, go ahead. You're on the Extra Point Show.
Hey, Sal, great show, and nice job covering the game yesterday. You guys did a really good job. Quick question. Josh running so much, and Dayball's play calling, sending him up the middle so much, is that sustainable long term? I think you're gonna kill this guy before the end. Let you talk to it.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate that. Here's the thing, though. Which is he doesn't take a lot of shots. Now, he did yesterday on the one where he jumped, right? He jumped, he leaped, he went down. Josh Allen fumbled the football. He doesn't take a lot of shots. When Josh Allen runs, it's usually, it's either a design run or a scramble. But those designed runs are designed around blockers and behind blockers. He generally has an escort with him somewhere. I have no problem with Josh Allen running. The only issue I have is he has not held on to the football like he should. I have no issue with Brian Daboll. In fact, I will tell you, through this offseason, I had a lot of different, markets call me, talk about the Bills, whether it's New England or Miami or New York, and they say, hey, what about the Bills in 2020? One of the questions they always say is, can you keep running Josh Allen? Do you want him to run less? And to be honest with you, my answer is no. Josh Allen's a weapon. You want to use that. I mean, when you talk about sustainability, what are we talking here? 5 years, 10 years? Like, how long before someone like that can wear down? I do think that you can get to a point of diminishing returns. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to dispute that. We've seen that maybe with Cam Newton or other guys, although Cam ran well yesterday. We've seen that. It can take a toll on your body. But Josh isn't taking all these shots. He's learned to get out of bounds. He took a shot last year. He went out of the New England game. That's going to happen sometimes. It's unfortunate. And hopefully he can learn to protect himself, in any situation he's in. But I think that the question around Josh Allen running is how much is too much. The question of how much is too much generally falls on when something bad happens. That's when people say it's too much. And what I mean by that is this. Let's just say Josh Allen ran 10 times yesterday, never fumbled the ball. No one would be calling today saying he ran too much. But if he runs 5 times and fumbles twice, suddenly 5 times is too much. It's all relative. It's relative to him hanging onto the football. That's what it is. So I think it is sustainable for the short term because of the way they design it. And I think if they take it away from him and they take it away from the offense, you're actually neutering the offense, so to speak, which is to say they're going to give themselves less of a chance to score points. Mark on a cell phone. Hi, Mark. You're on WGR.
Hi, Sal. Just to counter your point,
we found what we think might be our franchise quarterback. An NFL team to be successful has to have a franchise quarterback. Aren't you playing Russian roulette every time? And I'm not saying you don't run him. I'm saying, but you overrun him 10 times in a game, and he takes one bad shot to the knee, takes one shot to the shoulder, and now he's gone. Actually, don't have a great backup.
Can I ask you a question though, Mark? Can that not happen when he's in the pocket?
Absolutely can happen, but you're absolutely making a more.
No, you're not actually. Statistically, it's shown that quarterbacks actually get hurt more in the pocket than running.
But you're saying that if you continue to run him with these design plays, that he will not. He's not taking more hits by doing that. He's absolutely taking.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you're talking about the risk of injury on those plays, and I'm saying he has just as much of a chance to get hurt with a guy, hitting him. Look, beside that point, the overall point I'm making is, if I'm confusing it, I apologize. The overall point I'm making is, you want a franchise quarterback in Josh Allen. So do I. Everybody does. But what makes that guy a franchise quarterback different than a lot of other quarterbacks is his ability to run. So if you don't let him do that, he's not going to be the franchise quarterback you want. That's actually what makes him special, is the fact that he can do that better than most quarterbacks.
But how about we pick and choose less?
But again, what is less? Less is only the minute he gets hurt, you're going to say it was too much.
Right, but if he's running 10 times in the game.
So what's the number? Give me a number.
Well, how about we do it? How about we do it 5 times? So that's 5 less potential hits that he could take from a linebacker in a running play than him dumping the ball off or handing the ball off to a running back or somebody in the flat and not taking the hit.
I think, Mark, you're proving the point I just made, though, because if he does it on the fifth attempt, if he gets hit, you're going to call me and say it should have been 4.
Wow, I think everybody's having the conversation if he's out of the game with a torn ACL because it's a run. Everybody.
Of course, that's the point, right? You're right about that. The minute he gets hurt is when it becomes too much. If Josh Allen ran 10 times yesterday and he never fumbled the ball, he didn't take any big shots yesterday. He actually leaped over somebody, or he got hit in the legs and he fell, as on the fumble. But he didn't take any big shots yesterday. He got out of bounds. But if Josh Allen ran, I don't care, 20 times yesterday and nothing bad happened, would anybody say he ran too much? Maybe. I don't know. But I think it's because bad things happened, which in this case were fumbles, actually. The thing I'm getting to, Mark, to me is, and thanks for the phone call, I do appreciate the discussion and the debate here. I think that everybody's line is drawing it as soon as he gets hurt because he's actually good at it. I think you want him to keep doing it. And if you keep doing it, he gets hurt, then you can call me and say he did it too much. And I say, well, one time could have been too much. What if he gets hurt on the first run of the game? Was that too much? I don't know. I think over the long haul, that's probably right. But he is young. He still has good legs. He can run. He ran for 60 yards yesterday. And, oh, by the way, they needed him to because the running game was not good if he handed it off for the most part. I'm okay with it. My only issue with Josh Allen running is hold on to the stinking football. That's my issue with it. Let's go to Nick in Hamburg. Hi, Nick. You're on WGR.
Hi, Sal. I noticed that Tre'Davious White wasn't in the last couple defensive series. Did I miss something? I'm just if we haven't on that.
You only missed the scoreboard if you didn't notice they were having the game in hand.
Well, no, I paid attention to the scoreboard.
I know. I'm having fun with you. I think they were just giving some guys a little bit of rest. They had some guys banged up on defense. Probably wanted to just be precautionary with a couple of their players to make sure they didn't lose anybody else. I'm pretty sure Tre'Davious White is fine.
All right. I just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
No, you're good. You're good, Nick. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that, Nick. I was just having fun with you. No, I think the last couple series, in fact, I might have it here. Let me just check on my good old stat sheet here. Let's look at play time. Yeah, late in the game, by the way, one thing that did happen was the Bills used some DBs, and one of them was Saran Neal, who's playing outside. He was actually playing for Tre'Davious White. So to answer your question, Tre'Davious White, out of 56 snaps yesterday, he wound up playing 44. So he did not play 12 of them. That was probably on the last drive. The game was in hand. I think more than anything, it was, hey, we got a couple guys banged up, particularly linebackers. Micah Hyde, went out of the game for a little while. So maybe let's just take some precaution. That would have been my guess right there. Nothing seemed wrong with Tre'Davious White. John in Cheektowaga. Hi, John. You're on WGR.
Hey, Sal, great show.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Yeah, I think one of the best things about yesterday's game, and I think you'll agree with this, they had some really great catches. And that, you don't think of that, but that affects the quarterback's percentage. He's going to have a higher completion percentage this year just based on the fact he throws one that's almost in the carpet, and, whoever catches it. I mean, Diggs has great hands. You saw that. He had a couple of great catches yesterday, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing, John. I mean, ever since they got Stephon Diggs, I think that's been part of the talking point, which is, A, he's going to help the offense, but B, he's going to help Josh Allen. We all know Josh is not the most accurate quarterback. Josh is not going to be Drew Brees. He's not – he threw for 72% yesterday, close to it. That's not going to happen all year. We know that about Josh Allen. So you bring in a couple of guys, one like, Stephon Diggs, and now what looks like Gabriel Davis can be as well, which is, hey, they're going to get balls that a lot of other guys can't get, and maybe you get that extra 2 completions a game you normally wouldn't get that were a little off target.
Exactly. And John Brown had a great game. It was almost like last year, and yet, he was not, he's considered a number 2 now because of Diggs, but he's open half the game, right?
John Brown knows how to get open. John Brown was super consistent once again yesterday. I wrote about it, WGR550.com, my arrow up, arrow down column. I gave both John Brown and Stephon Diggs an arrow up. And for John Brown, what I wrote was that exact thing, his consistency. I mean, last year, this guy just every single week was money for like 4 catches, 80 yards or whatever, 6 catches, whatever it was. He was every week. And yesterday, he just kind of picked up where he left off in that regard. He was really sensational. Alex in New Jersey. Hey, Alex, you're on WGR on the Extra Point Show. Alex, go ahead. I'm good. You're on the air, buddy.
Wonderful. Sorry about that. So a couple of questions. I wanted to actually piggyback off of the whole Allen conversation. Me personally, considering all the weapons that we have, I don't think we need to be forcing, I guess, the run situation with him. You know what I mean? I think obviously when he's in a pocket, he's more protected. When he's running, it's live hit, right? So, and the thing with him is he's not even diving, so his body is out there. You understand what I'm saying? And he's our prized possession. Considering we have Moss, we have Singletary, and on some of the runs, design runs for Singletary, super shifty, can get out, can break multiple tackles, and he knows how to gain yards.
But they were having trouble running the ball yesterday, though, with those guys. They really were. Those guys didn't have good days. They had 30 yards and 11 yards, respectively, on 18 carries. So they weren't running the ball with those guys yesterday.
On few plays, when Singletary was given the opportunity, to me, it seemed like Zach Moss got the bulk of the carry.
He didn't. It was 9 each. Zach Moss had 11 yards on 9 carries. Singletary had 30 yards on 9 carries. Those are not very good averages. They had trouble running the ball. Now, here's the thing, Alex. They played a good Jets run defense. Jets run defense has been good. But I think yesterday was a game where, it might be a game plan thing where I don't know if you're going to see as much next week from, Josh Allen running the ball, but it might be a game plan thing where this week they just felt, hey, it's tough to run into the teeth of this defensive line. We got to get ourselves more options. Let Josh run a little bit. Maybe next week you don't see it as much, but it was clearly part of the game plan this week. Let's go to Josh in Boston. Boston, Mass, or Boston, New York, Josh?
Boston, Mass.
You're on the air, buddy. Thanks.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I just think if Allen can sit in the pocket and throw the ball the way he did yesterday, I don't see the point of having all those designed runs. All it takes is one bad hit and he's down, and what do we do from there?
I agree with you. I also will go back to what I said earlier. It also only takes one bad hit if he's in the pocket. There is no more propensity for getting crushed. I mean, look at all the quarterbacks who've been injured throughout the NFL in history in years past. I'm telling you, people might not, understand, but it's true. You can get hurt just as much in the pocket, and most quarterbacks who are stationary do. I'm not telling you that they shouldn't dial back in some regard. I understand that argument. Again, I'm not telling everybody they should run Josh Allen 20 times. Please don't think that I'm saying that. But what I'm telling you is, Josh, is quarterbacks sitting in the pocket also get hurt. It's not like you're just exposing him only when he runs.
No, yeah, for sure. He already got hurt once sitting in the pocket, so I mean, it happens. I just think if he can throw the ball like that in the pocket, then we won't have to do that as much.
No, that's a good point.
From his game, that's
part of his game and you can't take it away from him. But you want to try to limit it as much as you can, but you don't want to take it away from him, definitely.
It's a tough balance, Josh. There's no doubt, buddy. Thanks for the phone call. It's a tough balance. I agree with you. I think finding the right balance, but again, what's going to happen is this year. What's going to happen, I'm telling you, is we're going to deal with this every week or almost every week, which is they're going to run Josh Allen a lot. He's going to do a lot of good things. The minute something bad happens, God forbid he got hurt or he fumbles the ball, that's when I'm going to get calls or tweets and saying, "See, he's running too much." It's when that happens where people say that. It's the same thing with. And I promise I'm not going to do an Andre Roberts victory lap today, although I should, right? Because people just didn't understand when I kept telling them how good Andre Roberts is and why he needs to be on the football team. But it's the same thing with Andre Roberts, which is Andre Roberts was fantastic yesterday, right? But the minute he fumbles a ball, if he does, I'm going to be inundated with people telling me how he stinks and they should have never kept him. It's not worth keeping a special teams guy. To me, it's the same thing in the Josh Allen argument, which is, yep, running fine. Nobody seems to notice. Yep, that's good. Got a touchdown. Everybody's celebrating, right? The minute something bad happens, now he ran too much. Is that 5? Is that 10? What's the number there? The number is the minute it happens that you don't like something that happened, you're going to say, that's why I don't like it. And again, it's a tough balance. But part of the reason it's done, let's remember, is teams have to respect it. They can't just send people blitzing at him all the time if he's going to run. You have to keep the defense on their heels. It's what makes this offense good is Josh Allen's ability to run the ball. And I can't believe I just said what makes this offense good, but that's where they are right now. But what makes this offense good and what you saw yesterday is partly because of Josh Allen's ability to run the football. All right, I got to take my first break. I'm going to end the stream here. I appreciate it. This was more of a test. And the reason I'm doing this is if you're following me on Twitter at Sal Sports, you go to my Sal Sports Facebook or even on my YouTube channel, I'm going to start doing some streaming stuff. And it's going to be really cool. So I hope that you are. This was pretty cool. I'm glad all of you on the stream got to see some stuff here. We were doing it in studio today. So keep it up. We're trying to get it, advance ourselves into 2020. And I've done some things here or there, but I think it's time we really kind of take the next step. So make sure you do that. And thanks a lot on the stream. So I'm going to end that stream right now. In the meantime, keep it right here on WJ.